Okay, so hi guys. My name is Christie Chadwick for anybody who does not know, and I have with me today Milissa and Debra, and we're just going to kind of go over a little bit about a day in our life and how it is with us using our products and the community of friends we have. So I am a massage therapist, and I was introduced to Young Living back in 2000. Actually, it was like 1999. I didn't really know anything about the oils. They just smelled good. That was kind of it. But I actually started to purchase from Young Living in 2000 as a retail customer, and then over the years I was using them on and off, again, for nothing really specific, just either in a massage session or just topically on myself or diffusing. And I knew the difference between like a better product and a not so good product because there really wasn't a lot of companies out at that time. So I knew in my brain that, you know, a $9 bottle of lavender was probably not the same as the $22 bottle of lavender. So without doing too much research, I already understood a little bit of like, oh, well, this one is probably better quality. And because the other one said do not apply topically, makes you question. So over the years, I did research, and that's how I ended up staying with Young Living. And then like I gradually like came into what we call the Young Living lifestyle. So that would be focusing on everything, not just essential oils, but the products, the personal care products and supplements and just everything as a whole. But what I did not expect was the community of friends that I would make. When you question the mainstream, you're typically the black sheep, right? So my black sheep friends and I really started to understand that we're not alone in questioning things at all. Like, there are other people who question authority and what they think is right for us. We go against the grain, and sometimes that's really hard to do. So what I've learned is that in this community that we have, we really support each other, and we don't like beat down somebody for having a different point of view or like asking a question. We ask a question in return, and we support them in the journey. It's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's just really about just learning what methods are out there to help us do and be the best that we can for ourselves and our families. So Milissa is under my sponsorship in Young Living, so she's considered my downline. Where Debra is, we share the same upline, but to me, she's a cross line. So just, you know, for full disclosure, I would earn income off of Milissa, but not off of Debra. So we're here to help each other out. This isn't about like, you know, no, I want that person or I want that person. It's about finding a person that you can trust, that you know, that you connect with, and then you do business with that person, because what we want you to do is be as healthy as possible. One of the things, so now like from head to toe, I am all Young Living and Kohl's. I shop at Kohl's all of my clothes is from Kohl's, and then all of my products from shampoo to makeup to soap, lotion, obviously my oils, supplements, all of that is Young Living. So I really only need 2 accounts, Kohl's and Young Living. That's it. There's nothing else that I really need in life. My typical day starts off with all of my products, again, from head to toe, and all of us are pretty much the same in that regard. We are all, and Amazon, yeah, that's funny. That's true, Melissa, Amazon, yep. I get up in the morning, I use my Thieves mouthwash, toothpaste, floss. I wash my face. Depending on my mood or on my skin is either the charcoal soap or the orange blossom soap or the Art Skincare line. So a lot just kind of depends on A, what I feel like using, or what's happening on my skin. I always start my day with an oil. So I just kind of stare at my display of oils, and I just look and I just grab one, whatever I'm in the mood for. If it's a blend, if it's a single oil, again, depending on my mood, or if I need, specific support. It's very humid here, so one of the things that I like to use are oils that support my respiratory system. And honestly, almost all of them help, and just an easy way to do that, like, for example, I have orange here. Nice, easy way. Just put a drop or 2 in your hand, and I just start my day just like that. And it smells great, and it's awesome. So here's a way that my community of friends and my products help me get through a specific situation. So one of my best girlfriends ever passed away about a year ago. So her anniversary of her death is coming up on Saturday. So for the longest time, I had wanted to get a tattoo of, backtrack. Last year when I had seen her, she had painted a rock for me. And she had asked me what word I had wanted on the rock, and I wrote believe. So she painted that on a rock. So it's her handwriting, it's her script, and it's beautiful, and I love it. So I had wanted that word tattooed on me for the longest time. But whatever, it just didn't happen. Well, last week I was like, what am I waiting for? It's been almost a year. I want to do this. So now normally when you go and have a tattoo, you bring a friend. You don't typically go by yourself. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to schedule the appointment, and that's it. And I did. And like 5 days later, yesterday came the day, I'm like, oh, I'm going alone to this appointment? That's kind of crazy because I've never done that before. Usually I have a girlfriend and a glass of wine. But this time I had neither. But because of my spiritual beliefs, I knew that I was going to have her with me anyway. And I grabbed my oils. And specifically yesterday, because as I got there, I was early. So I'm in my car and I'm just waiting, and I started to get emotional, thinking about all this and stuff. So I had my whole kit, but specifically I used gratitude because I was grateful for the opportunity I had with her on this plane. I used acceptance because anytime you have any kind of, like trauma or any change occur, you want to accept it. So I had used acceptance. And then I used valor because I needed a little bit of courage to get myself through the door. So I specifically used those oils. I went inside. P.S. It was a great shop. It was absolutely spotless, the neatest tattoo shop I have ever gone into, and I have a couple. Nice guys, and you know what? When I was on the couch waiting, I'm going to assume it was the owner, but I don't know. But he was in there, and they were all talking, and as he was leaving, they legit all hugged each other. Grown men, tall, big, tattooed from head to toe. They all hugged each other, hugged that guy goodbye. Love you, man. Be safe. Travel safely. Love you. Like, the love yous coming out of these men was awesome. And all I was thinking was, this is a community. They're a community of tattooed men, but it's a community that they trust each other and they feel comfortable enough to tell each other they love each other in front of strangers. I wasn't the only stranger in there. There were other people in there. And it was just so nice. And I was like, this is awesome. So that reminded me of my Tri-Harmony Oilers and my Living Fierce Club friends. Absolutely. It was a safe space. You were 100% right, Melissa. It was awesome. So as I'm there, my palms are all sweaty because I know this doesn't feel good. Anyone who tells you, oh, it doesn't hurt, they're full of, it hurts. It's uncomfortable. I mean, it's not like, oh my God, like terrible, but it's not comfortable ever. So I open up my oils and I grab Joy. And I just inhaled the Joy. I put it all down my throat. I had it on my wrist, and I was ready to go. So I got my tattoo. So I don't know if I am in reverse here or not. But, okay, it says believe. And I absolutely love it. So after I got home, I washed it with the lavender foaming soap. I washed it up, and then I have been using on it rose ointment. I love this stuff. You take it. I've had this tub, no joke, for probably 3 years. This stuff lasts a long time. You only need a teeny tiny bit. So I've been using it, and then this morning I actually used a drop of sacred sandalwood on top of it, and it felt so good. It was so smooth. So now, what's a tattoo? It's a skin irritation. It's like a burn and a cut all like wrapped up into one. So we have the tools to support your skin through any type of injury. It doesn't have to be a tattoo. I mean, so it just goes to show this is just another way. I didn't have to use Aquaphor or bacitracin, which years back I have used that because I've had other tattoos, but that's what I would have used in the past. But now that I know better and I read ingredients, I don't want to put anything on my skin, especially on an open wound that's got any kind of, chemical or toxin in it that can harm me. So I use plant-based products on my skin, and it's been awesome. Like, it's healing great. It's only been a day, but the swelling and the redness has gone down tremendously. So then after that, I just go on with my day. I have my supplements. I have my tea with my oils in it. And then we capped off the night with one of our mentorship calls through the Living Fierce Club, where we talked about community, and that right now what's going on in the country where your rights are being stripped. It's very emotional. It's been extremely volatile, and people need to know that they have alternatives. They have ways to take care of themselves and their families with, not just with the product, but financially as well too. And the community support, there's no price tag for community support. There's not. Now, I've had great friends over the years. Hands down, I've had great friends. There's something to be said about meeting people in other parts of the country that you would ordinarily never meet, that have a common goal of empowerment and giving people choices, because that's what life is about to me. Choices. You have choices to make. You choose. Sometimes your choices are kind of crappy. However, you choose which is not as crappy. But sometimes you have like this great choice to make, and they're really hard to do unless you have the community behind you. So that's my typical, like, use my oils, use my products. Obviously, I shower every day. I wash my hands. I brush my teeth. I take my supplements. But like yesterday, for me, that moment of a little bit of anxiety, sadness, nervousness about getting a tattoo, my oils, and then my community of oilers made that very, very easy. And yeah, it hurt, but it was painless in a way that, like, I'll go back and I'll do it again, and I don't need anybody to hold my hand because I've been empowered by the choices that I'm making now. So, so that's a little bit about my day from yesterday. So I'm going to open this up for Milissa, and then I'm going to mute me.
Okay, hi guys. So I am Milissa Resnick, for those of you that don't know, and I first started with Young Living in 2009. I was first introduced to Young Living, and when I found Young Living, I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I knew that something was missing. I had just been graduating. I had just graduated massage school. I'm a licensed massage therapist. And I just graduated school. I was waiting to take my boards, and I was like, there's something like missing. Like I feel a void of something. And, Christy kind of touched upon it a little bit, but, like, I am a black sheep. I've always been a little bit different. Even as a kid, when I wasn't like 100% aware of why I didn't like certain things, I just didn't like them. Like, I never liked highly processed foods. I never wanted any kind of medication. Like, I remember as a kid, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but like when I was a kid, like the thing was Dimetap. This disgusting, great, like, I think about it probably like 3 times a week, because it was like, oh, something's wrong, have some Dimetap. Like, what? Blech. I can't even think about it, right? So anytime, like, I would sneeze, my mom would be like, Dimetap, and like with this little, like, stupid, like, weird measuring spoon thing, and I never wanted it. Like, even if I didn't feel good, like, I never wanted it. Like, never wanted anything. Like, I never was, like, into Advil for a headache. I just didn't. I didn't like it. And I didn't know exactly why. And, I mean, now that I have my spirituality and my faith and my belief and the science behind earth medicine and all that, now I know it's because my body knew. My body knew that that's not what I was meant to, like, survive on. I always know, like, I've always been more drawn to, like, if I'm not feeling great, I want, like, a smoothie, or I want like, I want, like, really good foods. And I've been like that my entire life. And so when I was first introduced to Young Living, like I said, I knew I was missing something. And when I heard a little bit about what the oils were, and as someone who naturally, like, is a skeptic upon a lot of things, I started to look into it a little bit. And even back in 2009, it wasn't as mainstream as it is now. Like, you said essential oil, and it wasn't like everyone's like, oh, I know, and, like, it wasn't in every store, which those aren't really essential oils anyway, but that's for another day. But it wasn't really like that back in 2009. So, like, when I heard about this, I was like, oh, like, this is real plant-based. Like, even just, I remember just Googling Young Living, and I just came across, like, probably the regular website, like a Seed to Seal thing, or Gary, or something like that, and I was like, oh, this is like plant medicine. Like, I want to learn about this. And I remember saying to myself, I have always lacked like-minded people. So I've had great friends, too. I have. But I've not had great friends who are like-minded. So it's always been like, oh, there Milissa goes doing her holistic stuff, or I have a 3-year-old, clearly. Hurry up. What? Okay, go ahead. Go. So anyway, so I had found that I was looking for something. So when I went to my first class and event with Young Living, I was interested. I bought it. I enjoyed it, you know, but I kind of used it, like, sporadically, like Christy said, a little bit in practice. I didn't even have a diffuser. When I signed up, you, like, didn't get one with the kit. So I just kind of used them here and there. And then as time went on and I was in practice, I was still finding, like, there was this void, and that, like, I would talk about the benefits of massage or eating healthy or drinking water, and it was like, so many people thought I was crazy. Like, I've had doctors tell me, like, oh, the way you eat doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So over time, I realized, like, okay, I need to find a community. And that's when I started to realize that's what I was lacking. And so in 2013, Christy was actually a professor at my massage school, and we had stayed in contact, like, over the years. And I started to really pay attention to what she was posting. And she would post about our now Crown Diamond upline Jahan Thomas, and I just, the two of them, like, I vibed with them. I was like, oh, I think that. Oh, I say that. Oh, that's interesting. Like, and so finally I was like, you know what? I had gone inactive for a while with Young Living. I was like, I need to get back to this, and I really did it because I was like, I want to be friends with Christy and Jahan. Like, I remember when I signed up, I was like, I need to be, and Christy by this point had moved. She used to live with me in New York. She had moved by this point, and I was like, now I need a connection to her. Like, I can't just go see her. I can't work for her. I needed a connection to them because we were similar. And so that's why I ended up, you know, coming back into it in 2013, and soon after that, that's when I began to order very regularly with ER, and I started to share and stuff like that, because what happened was like, the second I signed up, Christy was like, oh, this is our weekly call where everybody's together talking. Oh, this is the next event we're having. Oh, this is the, like, and she was right there. And she was right there, and we were connected and together, even though she was states and states away from me. And then I found more people, and I can say right now that the people that I am closest to in my life are my Young Living family. Like, and they're my Living Fierce Club family, and they go hand in hand, and they're my people. Like, when I have something going on, whether it be good or bad, the first people I want to tell are these people who are now my family. And 100% this goes for Christy and Deb and a lot of other people that we all have, you know, common friendships and relationships with. And so for me, my day is similar to Christy's. Like, for me, one of the first things I do when I get up, even if I'm going to work, is I set my diffuser up. Because I'll put my Desert Mist on, like, the highest time setting, because I'm like, I want to walk in the door and be, like, smashed in the face with oils. Like, I need to always know that the energy of my house is set at a certain tone. Because for me, another thing I always craved was, like, having that, like, escape, that safe space that I could go to when I was having a moment or something like that. And being that, like, you know, I lived at home obviously most of my life, and my family isn't of the same mindset as me. So there was always like a not wonderful energy at home, because more so because it was a scattered energy, you know, and nobody was like, one person was up, one person was down, one person was this, like it was never like this like equilibrium of an energy. So for me, the first thing I do is I set my diffuser up and I go based on like what I need. So this yesterday, because I was kind of thinking about my day yesterday, knowing that we were going to do this, yesterday what I did was I immediately put Peace and Calming in my diffuser. And the reason I chose Peace and Calming is because Peace and Calming was the first oil that I fell in love with. The first oil I fell in love with Young Living. When I first got started with Young Living, like in 2009, I had Lavender, Peppermint, Valor, and Peace and Calming. That's how I got started. They're still like my four, like my loves. Like, and then Panaway became big too because of clients. But so I started with Peace and Calming today because I was like, you know what? After yesterday, all the stuff that's going on right now in New York and all over the country and everything, I was like, I need my roots, my community roots back. And so that's why. Now, granted, it did calm me down. It is giving a peaceful energy to my home right now. All of that stuff. But I went to that because I needed that. And just like, you know, you'll smell something and be like, oh, my God, that reminds me of my grandma's. Like, you smell a pot of sauce, and you're like, oh, it's grandma's on Sunday. Essential oils do the same thing. There are certain smells that take me right back. Like, I will never in my life be able to smell cedarwood without bringing me back to the grassy knoll next to Christie at convention, because that was like, I never used cedarwood. Christie told me get it for the elevation, and then she needed it because she gave it to Lori, who we were talking about for her tattoo, and she needed the cedarwood. And like, there's a perfect example of community. I was like, here, take this. And obviously she gave it back when she was done, and if she didn't, who cares? Like, but that cedarwood is Christie. Like, it will always be Christie. Like, I love the smell of it. People always laugh because most people don't love the smell of cedarwood. They always say it smells like cat pee. I love it. Like, cedarwood, Christie Chadwick, 100% for me. And there's a lot of aromas like that. There's a lot of stuff like that. Awaken brings me right to Jahan, because one of the first times I ever went to an event, I had just gotten a bottle of Awaken, like, from my mailbox on the way to the event, and Jahan and I connected like crazy that day. So that brings me to that part of my community. So, yes, Awaken and cedarwood have properties, but for me, like, when I feel alone, when I'm doing something and I feel lonely, I'm a single mom of a very sudden divorce, and when I feel alone, like, I grab my cedarwood because it makes me feel like Christie's next to me. So you can use them in other ways too, you know, than the like what they're used for kind of a thing. So for me, same as Christie. Like, I definitely, you know, I shower, I wash my hands, I have all the products in my office and in my home. I clean my home with the Vegas household cleaner. I use my oils every day. I use a ton of supplements. Right now, I am in a season, which Deb will probably elaborate because she's in a similar season with my daughter, where I'm really working on gut health. My daughter suffered from some eczema and some other things going on, and I know it's related to her gut. So we're doing tons of gut health. I'm doing a lot of the Young Living probiotics. I'm doing a ton of Copaiba and different things like that, really focusing on supplements, lots of enzymes. I'm using our CBD oil, things like that. So what happens is I've created a community in my own life too, and now those people that were sort of on the sidelines for a long time are starting to see that this is more than just Milissa being like, oh, here's some peppermint for your headache. And they're starting to see that there's a difference to it, and that for me, it could be because I'm a therapist, but I enjoy like that physical touch of all of it, and to like truly like apply oils to people and things like that. And last weekend I was out and about with some friends. Someone was having some like digestive stuff. I had Aroma Ease on me. And I had Digest too, but for some reason I went to Aroma Ease and I said, can I put this on you? And they were like, yes. Like, you know, most people say yes to a massage therapist when they offer something. And he did feel immediately better. And he said to me, listen, within like 15 minutes, he's like, I feel so much better. He's like, this oil smells amazing. He's like, I love it. He's like, but I really think your touch made it different. He said, like, I think if you just gave me this oil randomly. And so I explained to him, very true. However, it's because I did it with an intention. I said, if you just threw the oil on because I said to, you might not have had the same effect. I said, but because I applied it with an intention, and if you applied it with an intention, it would have done that. And what happened was is all of that brought together this like community of people who are now like, well, what are you doing next? And who's that? And how do you know these people? And they're seeing that like the people that are congratulating me, the people that are commenting, the people that I'm spending time with, that I'm posting pictures with, they're my community from Young Living and Living Fierce Club. And my friends that I've had for years are like, how do you know them? How do you know them? And I'm saying, you know, when I wanted to get my new office space, I didn't go to no one even knew. My family had no idea I got my space until I signed my lease. One of my friends, only one friend outside of Young Living knew it. My entire tribe of empowered women knew every step, every time that something fell through, every failure that actually was a blessing, everything, because they were my people. They were like-minded, and they were going to tell me when I was doing something stupid, but they were going to lift me up, constantly lift me up. And one of my favorite little phrases that I talk about, and we talk about in Living Fierce Club too, is like, be the kind of woman that fixes another woman's crown without telling the world it was crooked. And that's what happens. We get on our weekly calls, and all hell breaks loose, but nobody else knows we fell apart because we build each other back up, and boom, we're back on there. And it's not to say we're inauthentic. The point is that we can find strength within each other because we have that. So I've really had a realization over the past like couple of weeks, specifically the past 3 weeks, that was it. The community is what was missing. I already loved the plant-based medicine. I already chose to be more holistic. I already chose to eat better and drink water and all of those things, but it was a very lonely life. And even though now my physical, like people who are right next to me, they're still different mindset, it kind of doesn't faze me because I have my crew and I have my people. And kind of like what Christy was saying, where like you could walk in and get that tattoo without somebody holding, because you didn't need your hand to be held. That's because virtually you were all holding your hand and you knew that. Even though none of us knew you were getting a tattoo, you knew we were all right there. And like that to me is like, that is way worth it. That is worth any. And then forget about that they're the best products and the best oils on the planet. It kind of all comes together. So that's a little bit about me and why I do what I do, and that for me it was all community. That's the reason I needed it. That's what I was looking for, and it is 100% what I found.
That is awesome. I love it. I love everything about that. All right, Deb, you are up. I'm going to unmute you and go to town, girl. Let me try to, there you are. Okay.
Here I am. Hi, so I'm Debra Rinaldi, and so I was introduced to Young Living probably in like 2014, and I was introduced by my sister-in-law, Dee Rinaldi, who is also, so she, as Christy was explaining, so she would be my upline, and so she was, and she's really good friends with Jahan, who is our total top of the line. But so we also, so she was the one who got me started. I needed some support with my younger son, who was having some issues, always seemed to be sick, but we were, you know, so she was like, here, we need to try some products. But like Christy was saying about the whole community, that is what I love about all of this, because I have now found a whole bunch of friends that I did not have before. Like I said, Dee was my upline. She's my sister-in-law. Love her to death, but she made the big thing and she moved to London, and so I could still talk to her, but I needed someone that is on my time zone, and I met Christy and Milissa at convention, which totally, I met Christy 2 years ago and Milissa last year, and the 5 days or 4 days that we were there, I mean, built a friendship that has grown. I know I can reach out to them anytime, whenever I have a question or a concern about something, I can reach out to them. And it's been wonderful. It's been very rewarding for me. I've always said to my husband, you know, my circle has gotten smaller, and I'm okay with that. You know, because as you go in different phases of your life, different people come in and different people go out. And right now I have a really tight group of women that I just love, and I can reach out to them at any time. So yeah, so it's just the whole community has been amazing. And I'm counting down because we have convention coming up. And I just can't wait to get my feet in the grass, get out on the farm and hug them all and have a great day. So that's been wonderful. But also too, so like a day in the life, like Christie said and Melissa said, we use all the products. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I put on my face cream, I put on my oil. A lot though is, it's funny, I find myself when I was figuring all of this out, oh, what am I going to talk about? A lot of mine is supplements. I do use oil, but I don't find that I use them a lot. My husband uses oils a lot. He travels and he talks about oils all the time. He doesn't care who's sitting next to him on an airplane. He doesn't care what it smells like. He's putting it on his, whatever. He's wiping down his seats with these, and everyone's like, oh, what's that smell? And he's like, here, you need a little bit of this. So yeah, but I have found, like Christie said, like Melissa was saying earlier about her daughter and the journey of trying to fix her gut because she's had some stuff. I'm doing that same thing with my son. I have always been, I was never into the whole health and holistic stuff until I started learning that there is a big thing, about the gut and the brain, and it goes together. I've spoken to the pediatrician about this, and he just looked at me and was like, yeah, no. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. We might be looking for a new pediatrician, but this is what I'm doing. I'm not changing what I'm going to do because I have seen the changes in him using the products that I'm using. So we start every morning with our smoothie, and we use the Ningxia drink, which is it's for wellness. It has all the antioxidants in it. I've incorporated MindWise into our smoothie to help heal the gut. We're using the My Design products. I mean, I use all the kid products on him. My Design, the Life 9 products that we have for the probiotic. And he has a diffuser in his room. He has all of his oils lined up. He knows what he wants to use. As you can see behind me, those are just my living room oils. There's oils in everybody's room. My kids have gone off to college. They have diffusers in college. They had oils there. They knew what they needed to use their products for, what their oils for. But so yeah, I mean, it's just been overall the whole thing. It's just been life-changing for all of us. And so that actually led me down the path where I just said, you know what, I need to learn more about this. So I decided that I wanted to go to school to, not so much that I wanted to be a health coach, but I wanted to be able to incorporate the whole living as far as the food that we eat, the products that we use, all of that. It affects our everyday living. So now that's what I did. I decided a year ago to do that. So I incorporate when I speak to people, and I tell them the story of why I started with Young Living and how these products helped my son, which in turn helps the whole family because we all changed the way the products that we use, the way that we eat. And so we've just become an overall, and also like you were saying too, with family members. I have people in my family that say, hey, so, like I'm having an issue, and I'll give it to them. And they'll be like, okay, and they'll try it, and then that's it. They don't want to talk about it anymore. Or they come in my house and they're like, oh, you're still doing that? Well, yes, I am still doing that. But guess what? I'm not sick. And my kids, we don't go to the doctor the way that we normally will, and I can give this stuff to you too to help you. But you know what? They're in their mindset, they're set in their ways, and it's very hard until they do see that it works. When they say, hey, my stomach hurts, and I'm like, well, let me do a little bit of something. Let me put some Digize on your stomach. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, I'm not really sure that did that. And I'm like, okay, you just think that, because I know that it works. So that's basically been our day for us is supplements throughout the day. Again, we use all the Thieves products, and just this week I had someone reach out to me and was just like, okay, I think I'm really ready to get going here. And I said, okay. They ordered a kit about a month ago, about 2 months ago. And they were like, no, I need to really make some changes in my life. And I have family members that need to make changes in their life. And hearing the story about what you've been doing with your family and your son and making him feel better, I think I want to try it. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. So yeah, that's basically been our life for the last 3 years. And so it's been wonderful. And I just welcome everybody that is so welcoming to me. Because like I said, you know, D is my upline, but we are all a community. And I can reach out to any one of these girls on a daily basis, and they're there for me. So that's how I got involved with Young Living, and I love my family. So, but yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And I'll say that there are a couple of boys in the mix too. There's just not as many. For whatever reason, this is more of a female-led type of lifestyle, but I definitely believe that that's because, typically speaking, the woman is the nurturer. So men are the hunters and the gatherers, and then the women take care of everything at home. So we do have a couple of men who share and business build as well too. My husband is great, just like yours, who talks to everybody on the planet. Like, he don't care who you are. If he takes out his oil, he's like, oh, here, you want to smell? You know, like, he'll talk to anybody, and he explains, you know, why. So I'll also add quickly that he is, like, allergic to, like, everything. So any type of pain medication and just other meds in general, he just can't take. So over the years, he develops pleurisy a lot. And for anybody who doesn't know, that's swelling around the lung. So he has like intense pain at times. So for whatever reason, right now he's having another bout of that. So we're just using a ton of oils on him. So I created for him a blend in a bottle, and I added the roller ball. And just FYI, none of us are experts. That's not how this works. You do not have to be an aromatherapist. And most aromatherapists follow the English model, which is just smelling aromas. Young Living follows the French model, which is much more about using the oils as supplements. So ingestion is totally okay with Young Living's oils. No other oils. Don't ever put another oil in your body. But, so, we're not experts. We all have resources that we go to help us in our day. So if, you know, I just open up the book and I read about whatever I need to read about, and you want Young Living specific resources, because again, most other companies, they don't follow the French model, and there's a reason for that. So just think about it. If you can't ingest somebody's oils, there's a reason you can't ingest them. So ours you can, but I refer to a reference guide. You know, so today, starting yesterday, I created him a blend, and he's been using it like 8-10 times a day, and it's helping. So, you know, we just support the body's normal function. So it's just such a whole as in holistic way of living. It's all included.
It is.
So,
I want to just mention one thing, if you don't mind, really quick. So, so what I also love talking like more specifically about, do you guys hear an echo from me?
It's gone now.
Okay. speaking more specifically about using the oils, is I love that if something's going on, especially with a young child, like the other night, Allie woke up and she was like, something's bothering me, but I don't know what. And it might, maybe it was a dream, who knows what it was. But I was able to take, like, a small handful. I did peace and calming, patchouli, lavender, copaiba. And I did, like, a mini raindrop. I just dropped them up her spine, little coconut oil, and gave her, you know, hugs and kisses and all that stuff. But I love that I knew there was absolutely no way I was hurting her. And that the essential oils, they have a mind, they have a brain, they know what to do. So no matter what it was that was bothering her, whether it was, could have been gas, something like that, or whether it was like emotional or something like that, I knew that it would help her no matter what, and it did. I rubbed her back, a little bit of the massage with the oil, she relaxed, she's back to sleep in 10 minutes, slept through the night, no big deal, no mention of anything the next day, and I love that. And anything, you know, does their belly hurt because they use their abs too much or because they have gas? We don't know, but I know that no matter what, my oils are going to work for whatever it is. And I love that I have, and I feel the same way about the supplements. Like, I'll throw digestive enzymes at her no matter what because I'm like, it's going to help. You know what I mean? So I love that we have tools that can't hurt our kids and ourselves and our family, but that will definitely work and help them in some way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. So for anybody who jumps on this call, you know, go to whoever referred you to come here. So if that was me or Deb, Melissa, whatever, or somebody else, talk to them about how to get started and how to very easily make this a lifestyle. It does not have to be overwhelming. You do not have to get all the products at once. I'll just tell you that we have a program. It's a monthly program. It's called Essential Rewards. Again, talk to the person who sent you here, and they can explain everything to you, but just know that that is the most cost-effective and the easiest way to get started. Because this didn't happen overnight. There's like 1% maybe of the population who would just like jump all in 100% and just order like $1,000 worth of products. I don't expect anybody to be that person. I wasn't, that's for sure. So over time, you just replace products, you know, each month, and then the next thing you know, it's 3 years later, and you have this wonderful collection of oils and products and supplements that you have at your disposal. Because what are you doing today that's going to help the future you and your family? So the sooner you start, the easier your life becomes. So, thank you to, you know, everyone who has gotten on, and thank my ladies for coming on with me today. And just reach out to whoever brought you here, and we all would love to have you in our community. So have a great day, and we will see you guys in the group, hopefully.